It's not my first, and I know it won't be my last.
Behold the Oli Bun.
Like, I don't know any other restaurants that have this stuff.
Refined hits the dessert jackpot at one of the most unlikely of places. Then, dinner is coming.
Hey, welcome to the first annual Game of Chefs.
Local top chefs slice, dice, and battle it out in a coveted cooking competition. Plus, Refined goes inside one of the top jazz clubs in the nation. The famous faces who got their start at Jazz Alley. Seattle Refined starts now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Seattle Refined. I'm Gard Swanson. You know what? I have the best staff here on Refined. They all get very pumped up when they discover something exciting and new.
Recently, my producer, Jenna, blew into the office like a windstorm, practically hysterical about something she'd seen on the internet. It was called an Oli Bun, and she was flat out obsessed. Now, we've seen her this way before, and we know the only thing to do when she gets like this is just simply get out of her way. So she grabbed staff super eater John Prentice, and away they went.
Just look at these majestic treats. Donuts filled with ice cream are making social media foodies drool. So Refine wanted to know where we could get our hands on these sweet gems in Seattle. And we almost gave up. But then one viewer emailed us 2 words, Chick-5.
Like, dude, where else can you find this? In Seattle or Bellevue? But no, this is only up north and up in Mill Creek.
Chick-5 in Mill Creek may be known for their fried chicken. But the real star is the Oli Bun.
Then you see the little fruity pebbles dancing toward people's tables, so you gotta try it. So, alas, the little, secret magic of the Oli Bun emerges.
Owner Jenny Lee is the mastermind behind this crazy concoction.
Oli Bun is glazed donut, right? And there is a warm donut outside and the cold ice cream inside, very creamy, but I like to give them a little bit of texture into it. So we come up with the fruity pebble. The first they goes hesitant, oh, the donut and ice cream, what's up with that? And the fruity pebble, and they tried it, they goes, oh my God, this is a great dessert.
Holy cow, the best of both worlds, that is delicious.
Man, everybody always talks about the oil bun here on social media, Instagram. And the cool thing is, I don't know any other restaurants that have this.
A lot of people from out of town, driving from the Lacey or Arlington or Bellingham, and they goes, oh, I'm here to, have your Oli Bun ice cream.
It's really good and it's really sticky though, but it's still good.
Blueberry, I got you.
There's 8 ice cream flavors to choose from, but fan favorites are Bow Hill Blueberry and Cookies and Cream. But let's be honest, anything surrounded by a donut is gonna be amazing.
What do you really think, John?
I think it's really good. That's what I think. I'm not playing this up for the camera here. This is actually delicious.
Just one more question. What's with the name?
The name, actually, the Oli Bun is from the family youngest, Olivia. She's very adorable and precious for our family, actually. So it's from Olivia, Oli Bun.
Well, I guess if Mill Creek can find its fame in the Oli Bun, that's a good thing.
John Prentice, Seattle Refined.
In case you were wondering, our producer Jenna thought the Oli Bun lived up to her high expectations. To learn more about Oli Buns and Chick-5, log on to our website.
Sadly, one of Seattle's biggest foodie fests is done for another year. But don't worry, you can always relive that joy that was Bite of Seattle on our website.
Refined.com managing editor Britt Thorson was the star of the show at this year's Bite Cook-Off Challenge. Okay, well, maybe not the star. She actually lost to Como News anchor Morgan Chesky, but she looked great doing it. And she wasn't the only Como personality at the Bite. You can check out the full gallery on our website.
Not to be outdone, over at Pike Place Market, a hot cooking competition that was part Top Chef, part Game of Thrones, and part Foodie Fun Fest.
Hey, welcome to the first annual Game of Chefs.
That's Como Chef Wayne emceeing this one-of-a-kind competition that Seattle Refined and Seattle Made helped create, pitting local celebrity chefs against each other in a race against the clock.
It's getting real here at Game of Chefs. All right, so we're in the Atrium Kitchen here at Pike Place Market. We're Seattle Refined. We can go behind everything, so come on in here.
Hold on there, Seth. We'll get to that in a second. But first, more about the challenge. 3 chefs from 3 of Seattle's top restaurants have 90 minutes to throw together the best possible dish using Seattle-made products. everything from chocolate to North African spice rubs. As the crowd enjoyed wine and appetizers, Will Gordon from Westward, Alvin Goh from Market, and Carolyn Ferguson from Belle Epicurean sweated it out in the kitchen. With just 30 minutes left, Chef headed into the eye of the storm to make everyone a little nervous.
All right, you got Will over here. How's everything going? Yeah, we're good, we're good. They got a half hour left to make this unbelievable dish using all of these ingredients. Alvin, how's it going? Going great. Good? All right, come on through here. Look at these puff pastries. This is one of the secret ingredients that Carolyn is using. How's it going? Looks like you're calm.
I am calm.
You're doing a great job. I love it. Hey, come on in here. Look at these. Quail eggs. One of her ingredients here that she is making, a part of a kimchi puff pastry. 30 minutes to go and we're tasting it.
But before the judges could weigh in, Seth gave Refined a tasty preview.
First up, we've got Will's pork kafta. That's good. Whew, that's awesome. Next up, we've got Alvin's pulled pork loin. This is going to be hard. Kind of has like a ham sort of taste to it. It's really good. And last and certainly not least, we've got this amazing puff pastry with a quail egg and crab and amazing stuff that Carolyn's made. This is gonna be good. Carolyn, that is good. There's kimchi, so the flavors of that come out. If I was a judge, that's the winner.
Seth was spot on. Carolyn hit it out of the park, becoming the first Game of Chefs champion. You can learn more about Game of Chefs and Washington-made products by logging on to our website. Seattle Refined is just getting started.
When we first opened up, we had no idea that we would be around 38 years later.
Meet the man some consider Seattle's Wizard of Jazz, a rare glimpse inside one of Seattle's most famous clubs. Plus,
my butt is on fire. Like, I better have the nicest butt you've ever seen.
we get the skinny on one of the most popular workout studios in Seattle. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Seattle Refined. I'm Gard Swanson. Well, if you're a fan of great live music,
then chances are you've been to Jazz Alley. And if you haven't, you're missing out. The Jazz Club is a Seattle institution, but it's really legendary across the West Coast for its amazing ambiance and the incredible roster of musicians who've graced the stage for more than 30 years. But did you ever wonder, who is this Demetrio with his name on the marquee? Well, so did we. So we headed down to Jazz Alley to find out. John Demetrio's love for jazz started well before he opened his club.
And they had a club called the Crown Terrace on top of the Edgewater Inn. And I was a busboy down in the restaurant. I used to sneak in the back up the stairs, and I watched people like Tijuana Brass, Herb Alpert, and Sammy Davis Jr. was there.
Through the years, Demetrio learned the restaurant business and eventually went to work for his brother at Pioneer Banquet Restaurant in Pioneer Square.
I went to work for him bartending and running the bar and also booking the music. So that was my first introduction to actually booking jazz music. And I was very fortunate to have met a mentor, a guy who became a mentor. His name was Jack Whittemore out of New York City, who had a great stable of artists.
Demetrio calls Whittemore the best jazz booking agent who ever lived, scheduling acts like Miles Davis, Stan Getz, McCoy Tyner, and Betty Carter.
He really taught me a lot about the music.
Demetrio went on to open Jazz Alley in the U District back in 1979, where he says it ran on a shoestring budget.
When I say shoestring, I'm not kidding. You know, somebody would come in with a $50 bill. Sometimes we didn't have enough money to change it, so we'd have to go get change. When we first opened up, we had no idea that we would be around 38 years later.
But But others who have worked alongside Demetrio all these years say there's one thing that sets him apart.
John is a jazz lover. That's the big difference between him and a lot of club owners. The music gets inside of him the way it gets inside of us, the patrons. So he gets it. And he gets the jazz lifestyle. He gets what his players need, what they don't need. Jazz Alley is hands down one of the best jazz clubs in America and probably all over the world.
Local artists like Michael Gray, who's performed at Jazz Alley for 20 years, agrees.
The best place to see music in Seattle. I really believe that. It's very intimate. There's not a bad seat in the house. The sound is always great. The production's great, and there's always really good people coming through.
When Betty Carter was here, who I think was one of the finest singers of the last century, she would create an environment that would actually stop you in mid-step and take your breath away for a moment. And it would be so intense and wonderful.
Another popular performer, not well known at the time.
I can think of one time when I heard a young man sing and play the piano, and it was the first time he'd ever played in Seattle. And I looked at this guy and I said, I'm really glad I'm seeing this guy because I'm never going to see him here again. His name was Harry Connick Jr.
You got to go see the autograph.
While Harry may not make an appearance anytime soon, you'll definitely find Demetrio working the club, just not front and center.
I like to stay in the kitchen, and I like it because I get to see all the employees. They all have to go by me, and it's really nice to do that and to work with them. We're happy we're here, and we're going to be here for a long time to come. It turned out to be a dream come true.
To learn more about Demetrio's Jazz Alley, check out our website. Coming up,
you know what my granny said about biscuits.
Refine's hostess with the mostest shares her secret on making the best biscuit in town. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Gart Swanson. Well, it's no secret that Refine's kitchen bestie is Heather Earnhardt from Capitol Hill's Wandering Goose Cafe. Not only is she hysterical and fun to hang out with, she makes some of the most creative comfort food around, including a biscuit that almost defies description. So we got a lot of stuff here on the table.
Excited.
What are we doing?
We're making biscuits.
Let's
do it. It's our first time doing biscuits together.
And that's the Wandering Goose.
Yeah, we've made over, I think we've made 500,000 biscuits by now.
In this, here?
In this little space, yeah.
Oh man. And this, what kind of biscuits are we making?
So today we're doing our buttermilk biscuit, but we're going to add some chicken skin.
It's like a big heavy potato chip. It is so good.
Potato chips, chicken skin.
It's all the same, right?
All the same. So we're doing our buttermilk biscuits. This has Boonville Farms biscuit flour. It has baking soda, baking powder, some salt, and just a little pinch of sugar. So this is 12 ounces of cold butter that I've just cubed up. You want cold, you don't want warm. You want to keep all your ingredients cold.
Then Heather slowly mixes in the buttermilk. This is the tricky part.
I'm not going to measure this. I'm going to just mix it in slowly until it all comes together. You don't want it to be too wet, and you don't want it too dry either, and you also don't want to over mix it. You know what my granny said about biscuits? She said if you mix them 11 times, that's 10 times too many.
Oh, yeah.
So the very last thing we're going to do is add the chicken skin.
And you don't break the chicken skins up?
You know, the mixer breaks it up for you, so you don't really...
Wow.
Normally we make them in the mixer.
Skins on the loose! Skins on the loose!
And then you don't even need a rolling pin. If you have one, that's fine. If you have a bottle of wine, you can use a wine bottle. We measure it about by how tall our biscuit cutter is, but when you press it down, you don't want to twist it as you're pressing. You want to go straight down because that's going to help your biscuit rise.
Heather brushes the biscuits with butter, then pops them in the oven at 425 degrees and lets them cook until they are golden brown.
Those look terrific.
Oh, those look good.
Oh,
look at
man.
that. There's nothing better than a hot
Woo,
biscuit.
baby.
Okay.
I'm just going to take a piece
You
right
want
here.
to take half and I'll take half?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was a dang good biscuit.
Heather's cookbook, Big Food, Big Love, is in stores now. We'll be right back, but first, this refined, shareable moment.
Did you?
Welcome back to Refined. With all the food and cocktails we feature on Refined, sometimes we need to remind ourselves to be a little bit more healthy. That's why we are sweating it out at some of the hottest fitness studios in Seattle this week to see which ones are really worth your time and, of course, your money.
Yesterday, Refined team members Britt and Gina got worked at Orange Theory. Today, it's all about Pure Barre, where they quickly learned it's a lot harder than it looks.
The big draw to Pure Barre, hands down, is that it works.
When Gina and Britt first arrived at the Pure Barre in Green Lake, they thought it was a dance class. Turns out, they were about to get one of the most intense workouts of the week.
I actually, about a year and a half ago, did a Groupon with a friend, did Pure Barre, and I walked in there thinking I was all that, and that this is just ballet. And I started doing it, and like very quickly, like my whole body is shaking.
I am nervous to try this just because I've heard that you feel like you're not doing a lot, but then all of a sudden your muscles really start to shake and kind of give out.
Pure Barre is a total body workout that fuses together elements of ballet conditioning, Pilates, some lightweight work, and a lot of like isometric deep strength work. So the first class can be a little overwhelming. There's a lot of jargon. Left arm wraps around the waist, hold on to the bar. Turn your right toes out, so take this right hip in closer to the bar. Just like in like a yoga class where there's a lot to learn about our technique, there's so much to focus on that it's not the time to judge somebody else. Nobody's judging, we're accepting of everybody. And it's your time to really just focus on yourself.
Sammy, the instructor, was spot on. Britt and Gina were overwhelmed, but powered through like champs.
It was probably one of the hardest workouts I've ever done, just because the moves are so foreign and they're so different that I was feeling muscles that I haven't ever worked before.
It's one of those things where, you know, you can tell you're working one muscle group like more than you've ever worked it in your entire. Like I worked like the outer thigh of my left leg more than I've ever worked it in 27 years in that class just now.
When you had the rubber band things wrapped around and you were like pulsating, and then when you go down and then like just the repetition of it was dreadful.
When you're doing the plie at the bar and you're literally just like raising your left leg or your right leg up and down, up and down, up and down. Why is that the hardest thing I've ever done in my life?
I know. My butt is on fire. Like I better have the nicest butt you've ever seen by tomorrow.
3, 4, crunch, crunch.
The class left Gina and Britt mentally and physically drained. But thanks to Sammy and the other women in the class, they gave Pure Barre 2 sore thumbs up.
Sammy is such a perfect, you know how you put up in your room a picture of who you want to be?
She's a perfect human being.
She's a perfect human being.
Yeah.
So she's doing the class and you're like, if I just raise my leg a little higher, I'll look like Sammy.
I mean, you look at the girls in there and they have killer bodies and
fitspiration.
Yeah, like seriously, and it just they're really nice and there's a good vibe in there. So I think it'd be fun to try it again for sure.
I'm gonna hurt tomorrow.
Yeah.
No one talk to me tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for today's show. I'm Gart Swanson. Thanks for joining us right here on Seattle Refined.